I guess a similar moment for a poster artist is when you're at a show, regardless of what size it is, like even just the tiniest little show, and you're maybe near the merch table and you see somebody buy your poster and walk out with it with a smile on their face. And it's kind of the
Yes,
same thing. You're
Yeah.
like, all right, that's mission accomplished,
true.
Yeah.
Because my biggest moment as a comedian was an accident. I was working as a stage manager, and at a small festival here in Chicago, and the stage or the production manager came up to me and said to me, "Hey, would you mind doing some time? I ran out of things to say." I was like, "Yeah, man, of course, dude. I got you, bud." And then I walked up onto the stage and there were like 5,000 people out there. And I was like, oh, I did not sign up for this. But I remember getting up on that stage. And the first thing that went through my head, I've got big shoes on. I've got big shoes on today. And I walked up that stage and I was like, I'm putting on my big shoes right now. And I look out, I see this crowd, and I step up to the mic and I do my routine. And at the very end of the set, now I wear glasses, which is why I'm still working with this light, still secondhand talent, still secondhand vision, still firsthand content. But I used to I was always jealous of people who wore sunglasses. I was like, fuck you, why not? Why not me? And so I wore these big ass orange blue blockers over my glasses to make it. So this is a fact, Ducky. I wore these big ass,
Not what I wanted to know.
massive orange old lady glasses over my face just so I could look like I was wearing sunglasses. Completely forgot that I was wearing them during this set. And the sun had just gone down, so I took them off and realized I was still wearing another pair of glasses underneath them. And like the crowd just died. And
Like,
like,
that wasn't even a joke.
well, and I remember just standing there and looking out and seeing thousands of people laughing, and I didn't say a word, and I just said, "Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for writing my last joke for me. Have a great rest of your night." And I walked out, people were, and I was just like, "Oh my God, this is real." And yeah, I like thousands of people laughing at a joke that they wrote for me about me. I was the punchline of it. Like I would like it was. I was like, I'm wondering. I'm in my head. I'm like, why are all these people laughing? What, like, did my pants just drop? What happened? I'm like, oh shit, I'm wearing 2 pairs of glasses. Oh my God. But that was that moment where, like, as you're walking off stage and people are chanting like Steiner in the back, like, it's like, what even is that? Like,
Yeah, I'm looking at theartofryankerrigan.com.
links in the description.
Done art for guys like Spafford. I've taken photos of Spafford, great guys. I'm seeing stuff like Wood Brothers on here, California Honey Drops, bunch of fan art. You've got Joshua Tree Music Festival.
Let's go.
More Spafford. This was for their. Was this for their whole tour? For that album?
Yeah, the Sunny Dispositions, I think it was called. Yeah, it was the whole tour.
Spafford's newest album. He did the poster for their whole tour. Oregon tour. Looks like you've worked with Spafford.
Yeah,
been
doing quite a lot with Spafford. Through a fan art show years ago in Vegas. I guess it was maybe 14 or 16 or something like that. And John Rose was there, another fantastic poster artist who did a lot of the early Spafford stuff. And he's like, "Hey, we should get you doing some posters for Spafford." And I was like, "Who?" No one had heard of him at that point yet, or I hadn't heard of him. And he's like, "Yeah, these guys are friends of mine from Arizona. You should really be working with them." So 2017 started doing some stuff with them, and yeah, I've been doing some stuff pretty consistently with them. In fact, there's spoiler, we got one coming up too.
Ooh. Oh man.
Great.
That's
dropped
awesome.
here first on Secondhand Talent.
Hell yeah. That's how we like it.
And this actually brings me kind of right into the next thing that I wanted to talk about. So this is actually a perfect segue right here.
What's your favorite work thus far? I mean, like, and not in terms of like the size of the gig, right?
Good
Like
question.
that's my favorite gig I've gotten, but like down to back when you were doing it for free at Applebee's. No, I'm just kidding about the Applebee's, but when you were doing it for free, what what's your favorite poster you've made so far? What do you think is the coolest? Like if you were to see it at a thing, you'd be like, that's sick. That's awesome.
Well, people ask all the time, like, what's my favorite piece? And I always say it's the next one, because it's something I haven't experienced yet, but of everything I have, but of everything I have done.
That's awesome, but I'm glad you're still going to tell me.
Well, what came to mind as soon as you asked that, it was a piece that I did when my daughter was born. And had I known, I'd had it out so I could show you. It's actually not hanging now either, but it's did a piece of a couple holding this baby, and I call it welcome, and it ended up becoming the what we use as the birth announcement. Make cards of it and send it out. So that's definitely up there as far as like one of my very favorite pieces I've ever done. The piece I did for the Dead's Fairly Well shows at Levi Stadium.
Excellent.
That was a pretty fun one too. Actually, well, yeah, that one's hanging, but that'd be hard to show you from here. Yeah, it's really I've created so much that getting back to what I said first, that it's really the next piece is always my favorite one, the one that means the most to me, because to me, when creating the art, the experience of actually doing it and seeing it develop in front of me is the fun part. That's why I do it. I'd be doing the art anyway, even if I wasn't getting paid to do it, or if it wasn't even music posters, I'd still be doing it anyway. And it's really just about the fun of the creating of it that so I'm always intrigued by what's going to come out next.
So this guy right here is my favorite of your designs. And just before I show this, I need to say I hit Ryan up on my birthday last year and asked him if he was doing a happy fish, which is what I want to ask him about, and I'll explain what that is in just a minute. And I asked him if he was going to do a happy fish for Jones Beach. This is the first time I was ever seeing fish on my birthday, and he said no. He said, but I'll do you one better. I will stream the show and draw a happy fish for you. It won't be pinned. It won't be printed. It's yours. And it's yours. It was great just to be received so gracefully by someone who I admire so much. And the happy fish looks kind of like this. It's a little happy fish. This one, to me, is uniquely special because it is from Wrigley Field. And that is the year later that year, because of Ryan's happy fish, the Cubs won the World Series for the first time since 1908. Where did the happy fish come from? I've always wondered, and I've never had the opportunity to ask.
Well, this actually goes all the way back to high school too. And ironically, not an art teacher, it was a creative writing teacher, Joe Sullivan. And he had us do, we were working on poetry, I think it was, and he had us do visual poems, or maybe he had at least me do it because he knew I was into art. And we had to do, take words and form them into the shape of images that was that word, right? And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I never thought about doing that before. And then I just kind of started doing it as doodles on things, throughout the rest of high school. And just kind of always had in my mind that was just something that was cool to do, like banana in the shape of a banana, right? The word banana. So,
shout out Munyon.
It always just kind of never really found its way into my artwork other than just doodling and stuff. But then it was in 2009, I believe it was, where I wanted to do a poster. I'd been doing a bunch of fish stuff for years, fan art stuff on the lot, and decided to tackle it in this way. So I wanted to do a fish with the word in it, similar to the way the logo is, but not so straight ahead as that. And
not a no,
no, very much a yes. And so for the I believe it was I believe it was Worcester '09. I did a poster like that, and
What's that?
might have been, yeah, or yeah, I think that's what it was. And my mom actually saw it, and she's like, you know what, that's really cool. You ought to do a lot more. You ought to do that a lot. And I was like, okay, I will. And then so it was, I think it was 2011. I did one for every show on the tour because I figured I was going out on tour. I might as well just do one for every show. And people really dug them, and that's when the whole pin craze was starting too.
Yep.
And
Yes, sir.
somebody approached me about doing pins, and they're like, I was like, oh, I don't know, like I don't know anything about pins or even how to do them, or whatever. And he's like, well, you've already designed them. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, all those happy fish you just, all those. Well, I don't know if I was calling them happy fish or not yet, but he's like, yeah, all those fish you just did, those would be great pins. And so we did. And that was 2011. I did like all 24 venues or whatever it was, and did 24 happy fish pins. And that's just kind of the pin portion of the whole happy fish thing is just gone on and on and on. I think I've done 160 of them now, different venues, something like that. It's kind of absurd, but
Yeah,
fun too
that's
at
a
the same
lot.
time. So that was the whole start of the
So
happy fish thing. And
one of the things that I really love about what you do is that one of the things you create in addition to prints, well, two things you create. One, coloring books. And I love, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that being the perspective of an artist who says, let's teach this generation about how to color. Let's teach them. This is my interpretation of it. But producing that material, it's like, yes, I'm creating a design, but I want you to put your vision into it. Is that kind of where that comes from?
partially, yeah, to be able to share my artwork in a more interactive way where you have to be involved as well.
Right.
It's with the coloring book, it was really cool that
I have one.
nice. I have colored
Yeah.
it. Good.
I've
Uh,
colored some of it. Justina's colored some of it.
Very nice.
My nieces have colored some of it. It's a family
Nice.
affair.
Have I ever explained the game of it to you? So
No.
they're on both sides of the page, right? So if you and I sat down at the table, we would put the book in between us. You would work on yours as I work on mine. And whenever either one of us says switch, no questions asked. You switch the book around and you keep working on that one. And
Oh,
you keep going like that until you deem them done.
wow.
So yeah, so it becomes a collaborative effort between whoever you're working with as well as myself. Who I wouldn't be there, but you guys,
And the other part of it, of your art, that I love the most is the way that you so freely give away not give away, but let into the wild your original art. To me, that is the hallmark of an artist that is in tune with their community, that is in tune with their fan base. We've spoken with Caleb Williamson, we've spoken with Justin Hampton. These are people who allow their OGs to be in the wild because they know that people like myself and like Ducky appreciate it so much. And
sure.
I know you did the happy fish with the names, and Justin and I each got one of those, but this piece right here is one of the most prized pieces in my collection because it's not an addition, it's a series, and numbers always get added.
Yeah, so this is actually a callback to something we already spoke about with going back to Meltone in Japan. So they had us do. I mentioned I did the
Well,
CD
real
release.
quick, do you want to explain what that is? I wanted to give you the opportunity.
I'll get there.
All right. I'm so
Continuity.
excited.
I believe when he said as a callback to earlier, he was foreshadowing that it was going to circle back
Well,
around until
as a
now.
former
You
English
small
teacher,
brain comedian.
as a former English teacher, there's a reason it's former.
Taught
Okay.
English in Israel. No, I'm just kidding.
So Meltone, who the band I met at High Sierra, did a CD release party poster for them. Poster went really well. It was that October, and they got back in touch with me. And they're like, "Hey, that did do really well. Why don't you guys come over here and come see us in Japan?" And I was like, "Well, we never been to Japan, so they're like, well, okay, yeah, we'll do that." Went over there, toured around with them a little bit, saw the shows over there, and while there, spoke to a couple different gallery owners and set up shows for the next time I was going to be in Japan, like art exhibitions. And so set went up for the following, that was November that we went the first time, November of '05. So set up a show for April of '06 and March of '06. And then butterfly in Japan, one term for butterfly is chocho, and
Chocho.
the number 55, which is my wife's favorite number. That's why a whole other side tangent. Most of my a lot of my poster work is numbered 55, and that's because of her. That's her
Aw.
I've
favorite
noticed
number.
that actually.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
cool.
That's
I didn't know
sweet.
that.
Yep. So, and then the number 55 in Japanese is go-go, or five is go. So go-go. So it was the go-go cho-cho show. That was my art show,
The
the go-go
Go-Go
cho-cho
Cho-Cho
show.
Show.
Yeah. So that was just funny to hear people in Japan say that. I did 55 original butterflies in those shadow boxes. So it was kind of like, kind of like you'd see, an actual butterfly when they pin them in there and stuff, but no butterflies were harmed in mine. Took those 55 over there, and they were all numbered just 1 through 55, not like you said, not out of some, not one of 55, just number 1, number 2, number 3, and on. Because I kind of have a feeling that those 55 I would sell in Japan, and then I'd come home and do more if they went well. And they did. So I just kind of kept on going.
290. I'm sorry,
Whenever you got
295 right here.
295,
This is
nice.
292, 292 actually.
There you go.
It's a good.
I don't know how far that series actually got up to, but yeah, I was doing them in batches. At the first batch was
6,000.
first batch was 55, and then I was doing like a dozen at a time. Does yours say on the back a city or anything on there? Because it might say where it was originally released. I did that on a lot of them.
No, but it does go
okay.
to show just how far. Art of Ryan Kerrigan. You're gonna love it. You want a throwback, buddy?
Okay. June 17. There we go. Nice.
No place, no man in no man's land right there.
Yeah. But so that's why I started doing those. And then, like you mentioned, there are a couple other projects like the Mandala project and the and then the other offshoot of the Happy Fish project was during the
personalized Happy Fish.
Yeah, that was a pandemic thing. The whole idea of being in a school of fish, how we're all in the same school sort of thing. But all of those non-gig projects kind of arrived from not burnout, but kind of getting frustrated from having so many gigs or so much of my work have these parameters of having to have a band name on it, having to have a date on it, having a deadline, having all these things that had to be part of that are essentially part of doing a gig poster. So
that's actually a great note that I would love to tie this up on, because I've been wondering this as a comedian. You're never done writing the joke. The joke always evolves. You always think, ooh, you tweak that just this little bit and it would make it that much better. Or, oh, what if I added this line from that other, right?
Sometimes it's hard to look at old posters because the first thing my eye will go right to the point where like, what I should have done right there?
Right.
Or, know what I could add right there?
Exactly. So what I would pose to you is this is kind of our like closing final thought, right? Not is there a project that you would revisit, but rather, is there a moment you would revisit in your artistic journey?
In what sense?
In the sense of kind of like how, when I felt, like when the people were cheering my name walking off stage, or, when people sees Ducky's photos and go like, whoa. Or when people, see your stuff, that moment where like you had that, who needs the return? I'm the Mac. That moment of just like self-definition where you really like, I'm not talking about anything we spoke about earlier with where you started or, what you're doing now or Happy Fish or original art. But like, if you could pinpoint a specific moment that made you and your soul and your heart feel like I've really accomplished something.
I think that moment is right now. I'm gonna hang out with you guys and I'm gonna pick up a pen and start drawing. That's why I've done everything that I've done, because I get to do it today.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
What What a humbling and beautiful response. Thank you so much. This has truly been a phenomenal interview. I cannot thank you enough for giving me this fanboy moment and being on the program. We hope to have you back sometime soon. Thank you so much. For Ducky, I am Steiner. This was an interview with Ryan Kerrigan. We are Secondhand Talent family. Thank you. We love you.
All right, man. Wow.
Thank you.